All right, let's look at the notable running backs on a bye in Week 5. Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins, Tony Pollard, and Tyjae Spears. That's a big list there, Matthew.
It's a really big list at, fantasy's second weakest position. Tight end is obviously the weakest. But, running backs are hard to come by, and you've got a bunch of every week starters out, and Tyjae Spears. We like Tyjae Spears, but we like Tyjae Spears. We like Tyjae Spears, but I don't know that he's an every week starter, right? But the rest of those
touchdown from Tyjae last night.
100%.
Quarterback.
Look, and Tyjae's like probably a borderline flex play depending on the depth of your league and the rest of your roster. But and unfortunately, I don't have great news for you because the guys that are available at running back aren't nearly as strong as the wide receivers that are available. But if you're looking out there, we got to start with Kareem Hunt. We've talked about him a couple of times ever since the Chiefs signed him. We were like, hey, we don't know how this is all going to bake out. And by the way, there's also a chance that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back with the Chiefs this week. So it is playing a little bit with fire. CEH definitely going to return to practice this week. We'll see if he's active. But either way, last week Kareem Hunt led the Chiefs backfield in touches and snap rate. He played 43% of them. He saw 67% of the team's running back touches as well, including 2 of the 3 red zone touches for them as well. I know P. Ryan got into the end zone, but ultimately Kareem Hunt got the first couple of shots at it as well. And weirdly, Connor, also a 10% target share for Kareem Hunt. We didn't think he was going to be used in the passing game. Right, exactly, because he just wasn't used that way in Cleveland.
Yeah, this is a Chiefs offense that, let's call it what it is right now, they're desperate, and they're going to be desperate without Rashee Rice. We know Kelsey's going to be involved, but they're going to have to get their running backs involved in the pass game. Obviously, the touches indicate that Hunt will be that guy. If he's on the field, he could always make a play.
Yeah, for sure. It's a home game against the Saints. You don't love the matchup as well, but ultimately it's the Chiefs, and there's less people to touch the ball these days.
Kareem Hunt, proud member of Slap Them Like a Grape. Starting running back for the Chiefs, probably not even going to get on the field for Slap Them Like a Grape. Team's a goddamn juggernaut. The show rolls on.
Some other running back news. Christian McCaffrey has Achilles tendonitis in both legs. John Lynch said in an interview on Friday he has bilateral Achilles tendonitis. That's what that means. In the same interview, he said, sounds very like Jay, God willing, the thing has quieted down and we can build him back up in a really smart and thoughtful way. God willing is not ever how I want to hear injury news start.
You don't want divine intervention to get your running back on the field.
One time.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't know that this is any quote unquote new news than the couple of days ago when it was just like, hey, all the reports about Germany and the expectation is that he can be back by at the latest November. So we still think. Let me put it this way. I don't want to say we. The general thought is that we will see Christian McCaffrey at some point this season. Having said that, we also thought he'd be fine for week 1, and that wasn't it. And then we're like, well, he's going to avoid IR, and now he's on IR. And now it was like, well, he's only going to miss 4 games. And now it's like, well, he's definitely back by, November, and now he's traveling to the country for experimental, I don't know what's going on in Germany. But that's not good when you got to leave the country to get something done. So I hope, I pray we see Christian McCaffrey at some point this season. But I think we have to start thinking about that there is a possibility that we don't.
What percentage chance, top of your head, we can all do this, that Christian McCaffrey scores 20 fantasy points in a game this season?
While fantasy is going on.
Yep. To me, it's like
30%.
Yeah, I was literally going to say 30%.
20 to 30%.
Yeah. So
30%.
And getting worse each week.
And what I would say, if you're sitting there and you're 0-4, you're 1-3, and you've been like, well, I've been holding out hope, and I've been trying. I don't have Jordan Mason. I'm trying to trade for Jordan Mason. The guy that has Jordan Mason is like Jay Croucher and crazy and unreasonable and won't deal him. See what you can get for Christian McCaffrey, because Connor, we were talking off air about this, about a different situation on your team with a different player. Like you need to. You can't wait for McCaffrey to come back, or you can't wait for some of these guys to come back. Like, you got to make a move now, and you don't like to trade them, but see what you can get.
You might lose the value of the trade, but your season might be over, so you don't have a choice.
Yep.
That's the difference right now.
Connor just traded me 30 minutes ago, Cooper Kupp, to me for Baker Mayfield, who was sitting on my bench.
Superflex league. I have no second quarterback.
Juggernaut gets
by the
more
way,
juggernaut.
By the way, I hate that because that made his team smarter, stronger, but that's a smart trade for both of you guys. You traded excess depth that is valuable that you don't need to Connor, and you don't need Cooper Kupp right now. You need to win.
And I'm playing the weakest team in the league. I have to win this week. Yeah. If I lose, I'm done.
Who are you playing? Producer Adam?
I am playing producer Adam. Matthew's ride or die team.
Yeah, exactly. Please, it's on Adam at some point. There's only so much I can do.
Yep.
Right.
I'm already thinking about playoffs, seeing who has the easiest playoff schedule and everything. That's how I'm going to play the rest of the season.
It's so annoying.
One more bit of news. Nick Chubb is set to practice Wednesday. That'll open the 3-week window to be activated. In more running back potential waiver claims.
He's rostered in most leagues, but he's out there in about
Just check.
20% of leagues. Worth seeing if he's out there because definitely worth a stash if he is still available in yours.
Rico Dowdle just meets our threshold at 51% available. Upcoming schedule, he's got the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, the Lions a bye week, and then San Francisco also on Sunday Night Football against the Giants. 11 carries. He got 1 target in the pass game that went for a touchdown, Matthew. It's desperate times on the waiver wire. If Rico Dowdle's out there for you, grab him.
It does seem like he has overtaken that backfield role from Ezekiel Elliott. He leads the Cowboy running backs in touches and target share this season. 3 straight games with at least 55 yards from scrimmage. There was 1 goal line rush for the Cowboys in Week 4. Rico Dowdle got it. Played 47% of the snaps, which was a season high for him. Also 12 touches and total yards. Those were all season highs for Rico Dowdle. Just even when they were in clock-killing mode, like I don't know, it just doesn't seem like they're not even using Zeke at the goal line, which is like that the one thing you'd think they were using. So it just does feel like Rico Dowdle is sort of, it's probably still like a 65-35 split here, maybe 70-30, but to the extent you want a Cowboys running back, Rico Dowdle is the guy, and he's available in 51% of the leagues. They're at Pittsburgh this week. You don't love that matchup, but again, sometimes beggars can't be choosers, and it's a dicey week given all the buys at running back.
Jay, the good news for Roschon Johnson, he gets the touchdown in Week 4. He did get 7 carries. The bad news is DeAndre Swift is back.
Yeah, and I guess Swift is the big news because he woke up and had a really strong game against the Rams. At the end of the day, Swift played 38 snaps out of 60. Roschon played 22. So it's not like Roschon is a complete afterthought. And I still think it's 1 week from DeAndre Swift. The previous 3 weeks he was terrible. So there's still upside for Roschon Johnson. I don't think you can start him at the moment, but there is scope for him to take over that job.
Yeah, 1,000%. And feels like at least we finally have a pecking order here in Chicago, which feels like it's Swift and then Johnson and then Khalil Herbert. Feels like, at least based on last week's usage, that he has surpassed Khalil Herbert on the depth chart there in Chicago. And just given his college profile and the fact that Swift has struggled for much of this year, not last week, but much of this year, seems like worth a stash there, and maybe you can get something. Again, they play the Carolina Panthers this week, so hopefully you can get some work there. I don't know what a mild high ankle sprain is. I've never heard that phrase. I think that's made up. But supposedly that's what the NFL Network is reporting Jonathan Taylor has. I don't know what that means. But what I would say is that if Jonathan Taylor misses time, I think Trey Sermon is who you would want to have, especially against the Jaguars. But we just don't know because they're saying he's day-to-day. So I guess we're taping this early Tuesday morning. If news comes out later today about the severity of Taylor's ankle injury, or hey, he's going to miss time, I think Sermon would move up, obviously, because he'd be the starting running back for the Colts this week against Jacksonville. But yeah, I mean, there's also a chance that he's just kind of a backup because if Taylor's healthy, he's useless. Trey Sermon.
Cordero Patterson, our final running back here before we get to some insurance, guys. 96% available. He left in the second quarter due to an ankle injury against the Colts here. But like we said, Jay, we're in desperate times. Cordero Patterson was getting work when Jaylen Warren was out.
He was. He got 6 carries. Well, he looked good as well. And a team that doesn't want to throw the ball in the Steelers. So, look, we'll see with the injury. But certainly he becomes an interesting option, though. Jaylen Warren is going to come back at some point. Najee Harris, of course, is still the man in Pittsburgh.
62 yards on 8 targets. On 8 touches. Arthur Smith brought him from Atlanta to Pittsburgh. Yeah. If he's healthy, he's going to have value.
Notable insurance running backs.
As long as Warren is out, I should say. Sorry.
These are guys to, have handcuffed and ready in case your starter gets hurt. Tyler Algier, we know what he could do when he gets the ball. Tank Bigsby. Justice Hill has been involved in a Ravens offense that has everybody banging their heads against the wall from a fantasy perspective. Trey Benson and Emmanuel Wilson had a down week after a big week, Matthew, but they still want him involved in this Green Bay backfield.
Look, over the past 2 games, Emmanuel Wilson has 43% of the team's running back rushes. Now, they got down big, maybe they like him more in passing game than Josh Jacobs, but still, Emmanuel Wilson can play. Tank Bigsby very quietly has led the Jaguars in rushing in 2 out of the 4 games this year, including in Week 4. I think you make an argument he's the better running back. He certainly, at certain times, he's looked more explosive than Travis Etienne. And I think in deeper leagues, you could make an argument that Bigsby, Emmanuel Wilson, Justice Hill, even Tyler Algier, they're certainly important to have as insurance backs They may not even be available in deeper leagues, but still, they're potentially viable flex plays in a 12-team or deeper league this week if you have a bad bye week situation or injuries.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotorworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.